This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on our podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspective, Spiritual Truth. Tonight, we're going to dive in. We got a lot to cover. And because we've got a lot to cover, we're just going to go on and get down to the core. Remember, 2026, we're going to keep praying for our nation. We've got a flag behind us to remind us of the 50 states in our great country that so much is on the line. We have our presidential seal to pray for whoever is in the White House, their family, the cabinet thereof, their families. We need to support each other in our nation at a minimum with prayer. I've repeatedly asked who needs to be the leader of the country. We know who is. We know who wants to be the leader, and that's emerging even more. And all the more reason we want the right people in there, because there is a lot at stake in our nation. Listen, we are going to look at something tonight that really has provoked a lot of thought in our nation, because people are realizing with all of these fraudulent scams that have been exposed, it's like a wake-up call. Like, well, what has really been going on? What really went on with the stimulus package, Obamacare? What really went on with illegal immigration and USAID and COVID-19? What really went on? Well, what we're seeing that really went on, a lot of the dynamics were fraudulent scams that came out of my paycheck and your paycheck. And so what are we going to do with that? So it's a wake-up call in so many ways. With the agendas that we realized were being taught in the schools when they did the shutdown, and all of a sudden parents are looking on the screens when their children were at home, and they were looking at what was being taught in schools, and they were like, well, wait a minute. What is that? Wake-up call. So all this ties in with our clinical perspective, the power of awareness. If someone does not see what is going on in our nation, it's time to wake up, America. As we all know, we were held hostage before Thanksgiving of 2025 for 43 days during that government shutdown. Now, why did the government reopen? And why did the Democrats fold as they did? First, let's be crystal clear. This is President Trump's administration, as we have a leader with backbone now. He's doing things that's never been done before. He's shut down those 83% of the USAID NGOs, guys, that were money laundering fronts all over the place. Go Google the 3 businessmen in Maryland who had a USAID contract and see what they did with $550 million. Just the tip of the iceberg. I'm not making this stuff up. When I started digging, and so, Lord have mercy, it's all there. The receipts. So he shut it down. If he hadn't won, this stuff would still be going on, and we'd just be like, well, I don't know. Something's not right, but we can't put our finger on it. Well, the finger's been put on it. It's been nailed down. We know what it is. And this is why the Democrats are acting out the way they are. Their money is gone that they have been abusing us on. Joe Biden being in the White House is gone. But his handlers, the people that were handling him, they're panicking. Why? The Democrat gravy train is gone. Their money laundering fronts have been shut down that operated under USAID, Obamacare, and illegal immigration. The old political machine that propped up their agenda has been snatched away. We're aware of it. Like I said, I'll say it again. A lot of people don't know it, but look it up yourself. 83% of the USAID money laundering fronts have been shut down and arrests have been made. People say, well, they're not arresting anybody. Yes, they are. They won't talk about it on the news. That's why you don't know about it, but they are. And we're just getting started. The backdoor funding and bureaucratic corruption is over. It's being exposed. They know it and they are panicking. They hate it and there is nothing they can do about it but lie and try to keep us in fear and to manipulate us and make us think that President Trump has lost his mind and he's a nutcase. As he's dealing with these people with a strong hand. They were abusing us. In essence, the shutdown blew up in their faces and they fell into their own trap. Democrats didn't shut the government down because they cared about we the people. They did it in an attempt to force President Trump to hand over $1.5 trillion in slush fund, slush fund money, hidden inside their budget demands. That's what it was about. A slush fund, what is that? It's a hidden pool of money used for unofficial, often corrupt, illegal, or unethical expenses, kept separate from legitimate funds for things like bribery, political payoffs like hush money, or unauthorized projects, circumventing oversight. That's how the government was being run, guys. Especially from Biden and Harris. When they brought in 14 million illegal immigrants, some of them were COVID positive. They didn't even have to get tested, but we did. And fired 8,000 of our military personnel related to that whole fiasco. It was a mess all over the place, an absolute shamble. While historically linked to political scandals, all of these dynamics with the slush fund, the political scandals and scams were rampant. The term is now used for any secretive extra funds, including government pots controversially directed to special interests or industries without full transparency, bypassing normal spending controls. If President Trump had not won, guys, in November 2024, none of this would have been uncovered and we would have totally imploded. But if you're working towards a socialist Marxist nation, you want it to implode. Look at Venezuela. We'll talk about that later. That money was never going to, the money that was being expended out, it was never going to veterans. It wasn't going to the seniors. It wasn't going to small businesses or rural America. It was going to the NGOs and non-governmental organizations that were money laundering fronts in foreign lands. So people are saying, why hadn't anybody been arrested? Many people have been arrested, guys. And we have only seen the tip of the iceberg in a major U.S. government bribery and fraud scandal involving over $550 million in federal contracts. An official from the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, and 3 corporate executives from 2 companies, I think they're the ones that were in Maryland, including the consulting firm named Vistant, V-I-S-T-A-N-T, look it up. Formerly PM Consulting Group, they pleaded guilty to their roles in their scheme. Look at what has been uncovered in Minnesota related to the Feeding Our Future program. What is unfolding with the Department of Education in Minnesota shows people who were told to stop asking questions, according to multiple former employees at the Minnesota Department of Education. They were asking, what's going on up here? Tim Walz, baby, listen, total scandal. The Minnesota scandal, which has already led to 61 convictions. I had somebody to tell me, or my friend Gregory Nichols, my Facebook friend Gregory Nichols, somebody on his page said, there have been no Democrats arrested, Show me the convictions. Well, you're looking in the wrong place. If you're looking at the mainstream media, you won't know about it. 61 convictions have already happened in Minnesota, in that blue state. It has widely been viewed as a byproduct of the COVID-19 pandemic, falsely claimed to have served 91 million meals. That's what they said they did, for which that group received nearly $250 million in federal funds, according to federal prosecutors. That money did not go to feed kids. Federal officials, they said, listen, guys, nobody got fed. It was used to fund lavish lifestyles, just like those guys in Maryland with USAID. Guys, this is the truth of what we've been dealing with. The orchestrated lawfare against President Trump has all been about destroying him so these things would not be uncovered. That is it. It is what it is. It was going to the activist outfits. It was going to the migrant industrial complex. It was going to fund illegals, subsidize people who refuse to work, and filter right back into Democrat Party members' pockets through the same corrupt network they have used for years, guys. It's been going on a long time. It's been going on for at least 17 years when Obama came in there, and we had the stimulus packet. All those companies, those green energy companies, Solyndra, Spectre Watt, Fisker Automotive, company after company after company, they got millions upon millions of dollars. Our money, filed for bankruptcy, got over on us like a fat rat and walked off. This has been going on a long time. Stimulus package, I'll say it again, if some of y'all gonna get it. Stimulus package, Obamacare, I already did a reel on that. Obamacare, how that happened. Stimulus packet, Obama. Obamacare, Obama. COVID-19, Obama, Biden, Harris cabal. They were bringing them in here COVID positive, dropping them off, flying them in. 14 million illegal immigrants in 1 year, 2023. USAID, NGOs, and illegal immigration. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it making sense to you? Is it coming together? Are you able to use basic logic and deductive reasoning to see what they did to us? Guys, it was going towards funding all of this mess, subsidizing people who refused to work. And so you had that crowd. They refused to work. I'm not going to work. They were getting EBT cards. I saw one woman, she was ticked off during the government shutdown because she was mad because she wasn't going to get her $4,000 on her EBT card for food stamps. Honey, that money was going into these Democrats' pockets through the same corrupt network that they have used for years. The national unemployment rate in this nation is 4.4%, yet in Minnesota, where those Somalians are, in the community where Ilhan Omar is, their unemployment rate is 30%, with a poverty level of 58%. You see our reality? Y'all got to decide if you want to save America or not. President Trump cut their pipeline off on day one, and they've been panicking ever since. But here's a real spark that made them cave about this government shutdown. SNAP was running out. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. That's America's largest anti-hunger initiative, providing monthly funds via an EBT card, which is like a debit card, to low-income individuals and families so they could get groceries, helping over 41 million people afford, hopefully, healthy food, fruits, vegetables, meat, dairy, and bread. Although a lot has been said about what people actually got with that. I digress. With those cards. Millions of their own voters were about to lose benefits with the cameras rolling. Millions of the Democrats on Capitol Hill. And people were getting a revelation of what was really going on. So can you imagine the headlines that would destroy political careers when it would say, Democrats let their base go hungry? Could it be that they didn't reopen the government out of responsibility, but that they reopened it because they were staring down to the reality of what for many could have been a political execution where they destroyed their own selves. Their internal polling collapsed. Now, mind you, the approval rating of the Democratic Party got as low as 27% in 2025. Why did it get that low? Minority voters were leaving them. Rural families were done with them. Even suburban independent voters were shifting towards President Trump. The shutdown made it worse. Then the SNAP deadline hit the calendar, and their money pipeline got shut off for good. So, what is gone? That $1.5 trillion payout to their pet NGOs is gone. Their open border subsidy machine is gone. Their election year buy-off scheme, is that gone? See what happens when you have leadership who doesn't blink? You see what accountability it brings about? The Democrats were about to be held responsible for hunger. My hope and prayer is that people remember all of this in 2026 this year as we come into these elections this year. Every crisis they create is about power and money. It's orchestrated lawfare against President Trump, and it's orchestrated chaos in this country to push an agenda. It was never about we the people. It's about what puts money in their pockets. Never has it been about America and we the people, as we have learned about the money related to the stimulus bill, Obamacare, COVID-19, USAID, and most illegal immigration. What we deserve is leadership rooted in faith, family, and country, guys. We don't need politicians who gamble with hunger, corruption, and chaos, and fraud and scams. All of this sparks loud sparks. It should make fireworks go off about, wait a minute. Who are we supporting? Who are we going to try to keep in office? Who are we going to put in office? This speaks loudly regarding the need for us to be aware. Be aware. A lot of people are just not aware of these things. I say the stuff on these reels I've been doing. Thousands of views have been on it. And the people just like, how did this happen? Good question. It was perpetrated willfully. They do not want you to be self-aware. So let's examine the power of awareness. That's our clinical perspective. Let's dive in. Awareness is a state of being conscious of one's thoughts, feelings, surroundings, and internal states. And it's a foundational element of mental health and personal development. It also involves knowing and understanding, just having an understanding. It involves the ability to perceive, know, and be cognizant, aware of events, and is closely linked to attention to matters, a consciousness, an awareness, a knowing of the dynamics of things. It is dire to have political awareness, guys. This involves an individual's knowledge, attention, and understanding of government, public affairs, and policy issues. This awareness helps us in informing a crucial base for political engagement, informed opinions, and active citizenship, influencing how people interpret political information. A lot of people don't know how to interpret it. I know how to interpret it, and I get on here and talk about it because it affects us and our children and our nation and our communities. It affects how we form attitudes and participate in civic life. It involves cognitive elements like factual knowledge and understanding. Imagine that. Actually having facts, actually understanding. I can tell in 10 seconds on somebody's social media page if they have factual knowledge and understanding. It takes me less than 30 seconds. It does. And so many are just driven. They've been eaten up. But boy, keep listening. The eyes of your understanding will be enlightened, that you will know the hope of God's calling for America and for your family and for you as an individual. Along with motivational factors like interest and attentiveness, this helps citizens make sense out of political messages and connects their identities to political choices, guys. This is important stuff. Psychological awareness helps individuals regulate their emotions, make better decisions, and find meaning in their lives. Do you think these things might be worth our attention? Words, let's see. Words for someone who lacks awareness includes words like, well, they're oblivious, they're unaware, they're ignorant, lacking knowledge in a particular area of matter, or they're clueless. The best choice depends on the specific context. I'm always talking about context. For example, oblivious implies a lack of conscious awareness of a situation, while ignorant suggests general lack of knowledge. There's a difference. Awareness is important because why? It improves personal and professional outcomes by enabling informed decision-making. Guys, they don't want you to be informed. The covers have been snatched off, though. We're going to be held accountable for our alignment, our votes, our decision. Who has our best interest in mind? Who was abusing us? Listen, this awareness is important because it improves us personally, professionally, in our families, in our churches, in our government. All these outcomes by enabling informed decision-making, enhancing our self-improvement individually, communities, as a nation, on our jobs, in our businesses, in our churches, strengthening relationships, and ensuring safety by increasing self-awareness. People can better understand their emotions and behaviors. What about recognizing our strengths and our weaknesses and develop more effectively what we need to focus on? This conscious perception is also crucial for social interactions, guys. Oh, yeah, it is. Where, what happens there? When we have that, we're very conscious of these perceptions of what we're seeing, what we're understanding, how we're synthesizing and integrating data, what we see. It's crucial for social interactions where it fosters empathy, understanding of others' perspectives, leading to more positive interactions. That ties in with what I was talking last week about the truth of what happened with Black Americans and listening to understand and reaching out to form relationships, to have positive interactions. Yeah, to win people over. We can work as teams. Imagine that. More positive interactions in our nation with one another, not this racial bickering. That's so old. And the enemy of our soul, our mind, our will, our emotions, our intellect, and our drive and our desires wants us camped out at that mess. Listen, what have we looked at tonight? A wake-up call. All these things that have been going on. Guys, it's a wake-up call. 2026, this is a pivotal year. And our clinical perspective is the power of awareness. Guys, we've been all over the place, and it's easy to get caught up in emotions if we are not aware and are asleep regarding simply being aware. Yet we should endeavor to listen and always get facts, get understanding. There are those who simply want you ignorant. They want you uninformed. They want you to lack knowledge in a particular area or matter. But I say it's a new day. You have influencers like me. You have people that get on social media, that get on YouTube, they get on Facebook, they get on Twitter, they get on X, they get on Truth Social, they get on these venues that come over here and we talk. And everything that I'm going to do is going to be based on the truth. I don't give 2 cents about emotionalism. It gets you nowhere. So we're going to keep coming back. Oh, yeah, we're going to keep coming back. We're going to talk about these things. We got a lot to dissect because we are one nation under God. God, yes. And I've had people say, y'all talking about God. I said, baby, I'm not falling out with you about God. G-O-D. Let's start with G, good, O, orderly, D, direction. G-O-D, good, orderly direction. God is a God of order, not of confusion. So who's perpetrating confusion upon us? Who's promoting order in our schools? Who's promoting order politically? Who's promoting safety? Think about it. Listen, keep showing up because you know we're going somewhere. It's expecting us when we get there. And I will see you next week as we continue to go from destruction to dignity, clinical perspectives, strategies, skills, tools, a way of thinking, organized, being intentional in our wellness, spiritual truths. I'll see you next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are one power, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation.